For part one, we're going to read this article. I'm going to give you some ideas on how to annotate the article as you read it. Okay, so this article is called The Oldest Rock Formations on Earth. I'm going to think about what we have been studying and try to use what I already know to ask a deeper question. I already know that rocks can form and change. If these rocks are old, maybe that means that they formed a long time ago and then did not change. And I wonder why that might happen. So I'm going to start by highlighting this. Let's try that again. There we go. I'm going to start by highlighting this. And I'm going to click on this thing that says add note. And I'm going to write, is it possible for rocks to stop changing? And then after you write your note, you can hit the save button. As you're reading the article, if you want to have it read to you, there's a button right here that has a little sound icon on it. You can click on that and the article will actually read for you. I'm going to take a moment though just to read this first paragraph with you. And you can see here there's this really beautiful picture of some rock formation where there's some different stripes and colors that you can see in the rocks. Sort of similar to what we saw with the Zoroaster granite and the Vishnu schist in Yellowstone. Okay, this is called the Nuvu Agatuk. Let me say that again. The Nuvu Agatuk. I think I'm going to go with Nuvu Agatuk. All right, the Nuvu Agatuk Greenstone Belt is one of the oldest groups of rock formations on Earth. Oh, that makes me wonder how old rocks are on Earth. So I might actually write that here. I'm going to write oldest groups and add a note that says how old. The questions that you ask as you annotate don't have to be very intense. They can just be questions like how or why. Okay, so here we go. The Nuvu Agatuk Greenstone Belt is a large group of rock formations located in Quebec, Canada. The rock formations that make up the Greenstone Belt are special. This group contains some of the oldest rock formations on Earth. In fact, measurements show that these rocks are between 3.8 billion and 4.3 billion years old. Whoa, that's almost as old as Earth itself. If I had kept reading, I would have eventually come to the answer to this question. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this, and now I can write in that I learned that they're 3.8 billion to 4.3 billion years. And lots of times in geology, they might just write YO, that stands for years old. Okay, the second paragraph says most of the rock on Earth isn't nearly as old as the rock formations that make up the Nuvu Agatuk Greenstone Belt. This is because most rock material on Earth is eventually transformed to make newer, younger rock formations. So, what makes the rock formations of the Greenstone Belt different? And why weren't they transformed in the last few billion years, like almost all other rock eventually was? To understand how the Greenstone Belt has stayed the same since it formed, it is important to understand how rock material changes, including how it moves and transforms on Earth. This paragraph points out that most rock material on Earth is eventually transformed to make newer, younger rock formations. So I'm going to add a note because I know a few ways that rock material can be transformed. So I'm going to make a connection here. And I just put this note here, but I paused it so you didn't have to watch me typing forever. But what I wrote was rock can be transformed by melting if exposed to energy from Earth's interior, or weathering if exposed to energy from the sun. And that's what we've seen in the sim over and over again. And you can see that each time I write a note, you can see it along the side here, and then on the actual article itself, you can see this red dotted line. Okay, so one of the next things that we're going to do is you're going to be writing deep questions as you go through this. Sometimes you'll make connections like this. You can also write questions like this that are quite short. I just realized that my note went away. Okay, I forgot to hit save. That's an important step, so I'll write that one more time. 3.8 billion years old to 4.3 billion years old. And this time I'll hit save. There we go. on Schoology, I put a link to, well, not a link so much as I put here, let me show you. It's easier if I just show you. On the Oldest Rock Formations Part 1, I put the pictures that show active reading guidelines. So as you're getting ready to do an active read of this article yourself, read through this one more time and then also look at the guidelines for annotation. Remember, the most important thing is making questions and connections in the article itself to what you're reading. And although I don't need you to ask a question about every paragraph, I would like you to try this strategy that I've showed you in this video at least 1 to 2 times while reading this article. Once you've done that, then go down to the bottom of this page and add a discussion note. Right in this box here, just add either a question or a connection that you wrote when you were reading the article. And you can always go back to the article as you're doing that if you want to. You can even just do a quick screenshot. So you can do a snip. You can use the snipping tool, and the snipping tool looks like this. You can open it from the menu and then you hit new, and you can actually just take that, because it will show, in fact, you could even highlight the whole paragraph, and then you can hit save snip, and you can just save it to your desktop if that's easy, and you can just say annotation and hit save, and then when you go back to Schoology, you can paste it right into the discussion box. So if you write a comment here, you can hit a file, and from your desktop, you should be able to find the little snip you just made called annotations, which I'm not seeing it. So hold on just a second. Okay, I passed right by it. It's right here, annotation, and then you could hit open, and then that will be attached to your post. And then you can just say see file, and then you can just hit post. And then when someone goes to look at yours, they can just actually open it right there, and it will pop up so they can see exactly what your note was and exactly where in the article you thought it was important to write a note. And then you can also look at other people's notes and make comments as well. Don't spend too much time on this. There are 4 parts for this. This part should take you about 10 minutes to read the article and maybe 2 minutes to make your post. So you should be moving on to the next thing by 3:10 or so. All right, good luck.